1:15, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Ross and read by Niranjan Abesundara. Head of State instructs not to conduct any ceremony to celebrate his first anniversary in office. IMF said debt restructuring is making progress in countries outside the G20 framework. The controversial antibiotic linked to the Peradeniya hospital incident withdrawn after more complications. The price of MOP fertilizer reduced from before the start of the JUL season. The government provided farmers with cash to purchase fertilizer in the Maha season. The opposition to appoint committee to probe causes of the country's economic crisis. Sri Lanka's first artificial beach within the Colombo port city declared open for the general public. International news. Protests swell in Israel as Netanyahu advances judicial plan. Sports Wimbledon 2023, Novak Djokovic faces Carlos Alcaraz in the men's single final. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has instructed not to conduct any ceremonies to celebrate his first anniversary in office as head of state. Leader of the United National Party, Ranil Wickremesinghe, was sworn in as the 8th ex-president of Sri Lanka on the 21st of July 2022. The president was elected through the parliamentary vote to serve the remaining term of the predecessor, former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Wickremesinghe, who is holding several portfolios including the defence and finance, have managed to turn around the economy, which is expected to grow in the third quarter. Considering the progress made by the president during the past year, several factions have proposed to organise ceremonies to mark the first anniversary. President Wickremesinghe, however, has turned down all requests to hold at a time when the country is recovering from the economic crisis. Meanwhile, a significant meeting between the President Wickremesinghe and the parliamentarians representing the Tamil-speaking people in the northeastern provinces is scheduled to be held on Tuesday next week. A senior spokesperson for the Tamil National Alliance confirmed the discussion will take place at 3 p.m. in the Parliament complex. International Monetary Fund says debt restructuring is making progress in countries outside of the G20 common framework, such as Sri Lanka. Addressing a press briefing on Thursday, the global leader's director of strategic communications, JUL said creditor coordination too has been promising progress in the countries. According to Kazakh, G20 common framework has been delivering on debt restructuring cases as well, such as Chad, Ghana and Zambia. Officials acknowledged that the debt restructuring process needs to accelerate, predictable and timely, adding that it also needs to provide breathing space to debtor countries through debt suspension during negotiations. The Minister of Agriculture, Mahinda Amaraweera, at the District Development Committee meeting held at the Polonnaru District Secretariat earlier this week, announced the price of bundle fertilizer or muriate of potash provided to farmers will be reduced by 1,000 rupees from July 15th. The price of MOP fertilizer, which was over 22,000 rupees before the last of the JUL season, was reduced to 19,500 rupees and then to 15,000 rupees. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Agriculture has announced that another type of chemical fertilizer will be provided to the farmers free of charge in the upcoming Maha season. Moreover, the government has also decided to deposit cash to the bank accounts of all farmers instead of vouchers in order to buy fertilizer in the next season. Accordingly, farmers will be able to purchase their chemical or organic fertilizers from the private sector or from the Ceylon Fertilizer Company at their discretion. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The opposition decided to appoint a genuine alternative committee to finally investigate all parties responsible for the country's economic collapse, as opposed to the Parliament Select Committee appointed for the same purpose. In a media release, opposition leader Thadit Premadasa deemed the recently elected PSA undermines the objective, accusing it of pretending to investigate the causes of the country's bankruptcy. Opposition leader accused the government of selecting the same people who were responsible for the economic crime in the country and bankruptcy of the country to investigate all the causes which led to this situation. He noted that the committee to be appointed by the opposition will take steps to formally look into all parties responsible for the economic collapse and to report to the parliament. Sri Lanka's first artificial beach within the Colombo port city has been declared open for the general public this weekend. Accordingly, the public can access the 3.5-kilometer beach stretch since yesterday. Locals and foreigners alike will be able to engage in activities and will be able to have access to the nearby restaurants. Meanwhile, made investments are trickling into the port city in Colombo, which is the largest development project in Sri Lanka. And that ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Director General of Health Services say the batch of the much disputed drug cetirizine, which caused an allergic reaction to the antibiotic that resulted in the death of a 20-year-old girl, has been withdrawn. However, it is reported that 2 more patients who were under medical care at the Kandy National Hospital have developed allergic reactions to the antibiotic yesterday. Speaking to the media, Director General of Health Services Dr. Nasir Legunawardana said the batch of antibiotic used in the Kandy National Hospital and the Pediatric Hospital was withdrawn but withheld after 2 male cases of allergic reaction was reported. According to Dr. Gunawardana, more than 10 batches of ceftriaxone have been distributed to multiple hospitals across the island and are currently in use. Dr. Gunawardana assured that the 2 patients were treated for the allergic reaction and are in good condition.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
On to Watchlight, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board says parts of the Gampa district will experience water cuts for 8.5 hours today. According to the Paliyagala, Wattala, Jala and Katanayaka Sidu urban council areas will be affected by the water cut imposed from 8:30 am to 5 pm. In addition, the water supply to Kalaniya, Wattala, Biagama, Mahara, Dompe, Katana and Midwangada Pradisabha areas and part of the Gampa Pradisabha area too will be suspended during this period. NWSDB attributed the water cut to the interruption of water supply to the Biagama water treatment plant for 8.5 hours due to urgent maintenance work at the Sabakastanla power plant. Well, that came to you in Watchlight. And on to world news. The headlines: protests swell in Israel and Netanyahu advances judicial plan. 6 bodies recovered from flooded South Korea tunnel. Extreme heat sweeps the world from Europe to the US and Japan. Tens of thousands of protesters have rallied in the streets of Tel Aviv and other Israeli cities, promising days of disruption as the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's far-right government advanced its plan to overhaul the judiciary. The rallies on Saturday marked the 28th straight week of demonstrations against Netanyahu's plan and come days after his government gave initial approval to a key bill which is part of the overhaul. The bill, which was approved in its first reading, would reduce the reasonability clause through which the judiciary can strike down government decisions. It also gives the government a greater say in the appointment of judges. The bill still needs to be approved in 2 more votes expected by the end of the month before it becomes law. Rescuers in South Korea working to reach cars trapped in a flooding tunnel have recovered at least 6 bodies. Torrential rains have caused flooding, landslides and power cuts across much of the country. At least 26 other people are known to have been killed while 10 remain missing. It is unclear how many people are still trapped in the tunnel, which is 685 meters long, but 15 vehicles are thought to be submerged. 5 bodies were recovered from inside the bus. That followed the discovery of another body and the rescue of 9 survivors on Saturday. Record heat is forecast around the world for the United States, where tens of millions are battling the dangerously high temperatures. To Europe and Japan in the latest example of rising threat from the global warming. Italy faces weekend predictions of historic highs, with Health Ministry issuing a red alert for 16 cities, including Rome, Bologna and Florence. The Meteor Center warned Italians to prepare for the most intense heat wave of summer and also one of the most intense of all time. The European Space Agency warned that islands of Sicily and Sardinia will wilt under temperatures as high as 40 Celsius, potentially the hottest temperatures ever recorded in Europe. Back to the world news headlines. Protests swell in Israel and Netanyahu advances judicial plan. 6 bodies recovered from flooded South Korea tunnel. Extreme heat sweeps the world from Europe to the US and Japan. That was world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Vacancies for women from Desha, Sri Lanka for housemaids in Kuwait, Oman and Saudi Arabia for ages 23 to 58 years. Contact number 037 7500 500.
Sri Lanka has resumed construction of the second terminal at the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunayake. According to the Minister of Port, Shipping and Aviation, work has temporarily halted due to economic crisis last year. Minister Nimal Siripala said the government has made significant progress with the National Monetary Fund, and as a result, Japan and JICA have decided to release the financial assistance to support Sri Lanka's development. He added that construction of BIA's second terminal has been given top priority.
Vacancies for women from Deshakti Lanka for housekeepers, home cooks, caretakers and home nurses in Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia and Singapore for ages 23 to 57 years. Salaries starting from 156,000 rupees. Interviews with foreign agents are now on. Come whether you have a passport or not. Branches, Colombo, Kurunagala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 0377 500 500.
On to sports news. Wimbledon 2023, Marketa Vondrousova became the first unseeded player to win the Wimbledon's women's singles title as Ons Jabeur wait for a major goes on. Vondrousova, age 24, is ranked 42nd in the world after missing 6 months of last season with a wrist injury. But the Czech handled the mirrors of the occasion better than 2022 runner-up Jabeur to win Saturday's final 6-4, 6-4. Vondrousova, who came to Wimbledon as a fan last year wearing a cast after wrist injury, fell flat on her back as the magnitude of what she had achieved sank in. Meanwhile, defending champion Novak Djokovic believes his eagerly anticipated Wimbledon meeting with top seed Carlos Alcaraz is probably the best final there could have been. Serbia Djokovic, age 36, and 20-year-old Spaniard Alcaraz meet on centre court later today. Second seed Djokovic goes for an 8th men's title and 24 major, which would both see record equaling feats. In other sports cricket, the first test match between Sri Lanka and Pakistan got underway at goal this morning. Sri Lanka won the test and were 46 for a loss of 2 wickets when the rain interrupted play. Skipper Dimuth Karunaratne and Angelo Matthews were at the crease before the interruption. That was sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
In business news, State Minister Lilu Mamunagama said China's leading international petroleum company, Sinopec, will commence its operations in the country from this weekend as an importer, distributor and retail operator for the petroleum products. Sinopec Energy Lanka Private Limited, the Beijing-based company subsidiary in Sri Lanka, signed an agreement with the Board of Investment on Friday to operate and set up filling stations for fuel distribution on the island nation. Sinopec has invested $100 million in the project, which includes import, storage and sales of fuel. In addition, Sinopec will establish 50 new filling stations in the country. That was business news.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And on to economic news. The government had decided to allow the importation of all goods except motor vehicles that are prohibited to be imported to Sri Lanka in the first week of September. The policy will come into effect in the first week of September, allowing a broader range of goods to enter the country. The government reached its decision during a discussion held last Wednesday between Sagar Ratnakar, Chief of Presidential Staff, Presidential Advisor of the National Security, officials of the Ministry of Finance and officials of the International Monetary Fund. It has also been decided to conduct a weekly review regarding the proposals of the National Monetary Fund. That was economic news.
Weather report.
The Department of Meteorology predicts several spells of showers in the western, Sabaragamuwa and northern provinces and the Kandy, Nuwara Eliya, God and Matara districts. Met Department said thundershowers could be expected at a few places in the Wu and eastern provinces during the evening or at night. Meanwhile, the public has been requested to take adequate precaution to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during the thunder showers. And back to the headlines of the news. Head of State instructs not to conduct any ceremonies to celebrate his first anniversary in office. IMF says debt restructuring is making progress in countries outside the G20 framework. The controversial antibiotic linked to the parent hospital incident withdrawn after more complications. The price of MOP fertilizer reduced from before the start of the JUL season. The government to provide farmers with cash to purchase fertilizer in the Maha season. Opposition to appoint committee to probe the causes of the country's economic crisis. Sri Lanka's first artificial beach within the Colombo port city declared open for the general public. International news. Protests swell in Israel as Netanyahu advances judicial plan. Sports Wimbledon 2023. Novak Djokovic faces Carlos Alcaraz in the men's singles finals. That ends the afternoon news. Time moves on to 1:31. It is Radio Sri Lanka. And until 2 p.m., let's enjoy music with lunch.